Namaskar. Welcome, guys. You are tuned into Saraswati Radio. I'm Sky with the news for the upcoming transit of Jupiter into Pisces. It's happening on the 29th of December. The influences of Jupiter in Pisces are going to be very strong during the whole next year. Looks like lots of rain and massive floodings in many places on the earth. There are indicators showing us that this 2022 could be remembered as one of the very wet years. In this recording, I'd like to cover the most interesting angles for this day of the 29th, when it all begins. Uranus over there in Taurus is deeply involved, and how we will see in a bit is contributing through his presence to much action. This bright blue line shows us an angle of about 72 degrees from Jupiter to Uranus. It's a blessing. I appreciate to see this one. It will provide harmony, and it's like a highway where literally only higher frequencies can come in. I dare to say this influence of this angle is dominant, and we can experience the frequencies of freedom and silence playing out in a pleasant way. Jupiter is mighty, the guru of the gurus. Wherever he stands, the vibrations become amplified. Some astrologers consider his impacts as even more powerful than the sun herself. I believe, yes, he is a big one, but we always wanted to look at the relationships between these celestial beings, and that's what we are getting into right now. You can imagine it like this. As Jupiter moves into gate 55, it opens. The energy flows to Uranus, and because of the benevolent angle and wonderful geometry, he receives the high frequencies. Means the gate where Uranus stands here in 24 will be energized. In the body, it will have the effect of the right and left brain hemisphere being perfectly balanced. Look out for it. This feels like little gaps, where it seems the brain stops working for a moment. That silence is the sign of perfect balance between left and right. It's basically the time and space between the thoughts. For people with a lot of mental activity, it's unusual and perceived like the brain isn't working. But in reality, it's just a balancing of right and left hemisphere. This silence is the space for the divine inspiration flowing from the 61st gate into the third eye. Uranus represents the future, the youth and groups of young people, as well as the development of new technology. He provides electric energy, the fast-moving air element. His force brings about changes, irreversible changes, and depending on the position and relationship to the others, it can take place through destruction and annihilation. Aruna, he is called in the Hindu traditions, and actually the husband of the sun. His time is dawn before sunrise. He is the chariot and the driver of the wagon which pulls the sun up. On this day, those two are in a happy and healthy relationship. The sun is still in Capricorn, in gate 58. It's called the joyous lake. The relationship of the sun and Uranus is harmonious and the earth element benevolent. In the body, the third eye and root chakra will benefit from these activations. We can see it here. From Jupiter's place, a massive amount of consciousness flows towards Uranus, and from there we experience also the activation of the Sun, Mars, Moon and Saturn over here in Aquarius. Let's now have a look at Mars and his relationship to Uranus and Saturn as well. Mars too is about changes and fast actions. He is kinda like the accelerator on the bike. His feature is initiative fire sparks. His vibes can be harsh and or quite irrational. He is acting first and thinking after. The green line here means an inconjunct of about 150 degrees, a difficult angle, and could become a source of problems. By Mars in gate 5, it's located in Sagittarius, which is also representing the fire element. This particular gate is about patience or impatience, especially regarding sexual activities, and we may be tempted to have too much fire in sexual interactions, become impatient or even pushy. Of course, it's not that we all become rapists at this time. It really depends on the individual design and overall health of a person to determine how much they are impacted. People who have already problems with sexuality might find it more difficult to channel this energy to something constructive or navigate their partner through it. To work with this particular angle, I find it's best to focus on either one or the other gate. The 150-degree angle isn't really allowing high frequencies to come through. Most likely we're gonna experience the shadows until Mars is moving out there. So we are dealing with the shadow of gate 24. It's about addictions of all kinds, energized by Aruna's nervous electric air qualities. Or the shadows of the 5th gate is impatience, especially regarding sexuality, energized by the ferocious warrior Mars. From there, dear ones, we want to pay attention to the relationship from Mars and Saturn. They are in an angle from about 60 degrees. Means another highway is formed, but this one allows also some lower frequencies to interfere. Saturn there in Aquarius is in a square angle to Uranus. A square angle is like a bumpy road, not even a highway. It contributes to the inability to be in integrity to the highest. This setting could have an effect like a loop or a circuit of misalignment. I hope that makes sense so far. On top of it all, our great warrior Mars is in an uncomfortable position to the 1st house, indicating that our behaviors and actions are not in alignment in how we are presenting ourselves to others. Our actions during this time tend to not represent our outer image and usual attitude. Such movements or actions can easily lead to unwanted fame. Until Mars moves further in, I hope that we all can stay in the place of the observer. Slow down, slow down. Better to be in slow motion and have time to think first, or use the emotional guiding system. Listen to those alarm bells when they go off. Good news, it's Venus, Mercury and Pluto teaming up in gate 61. This group in this position is in a great angle to the Moon, in harmony with Neptune, and in a beneficial angle to the 1st and the 10th house. It's kinda like mixed fruit juice. It's difficult to find out what's inside, but after all, quite tasty. All this should help us to keep a cool head, use a rational thinking style. Mars there is going to be the source of temptations, acting too fast based on a physical body sensation. Remember, the foundation of everything good and constructive is always relaxation. For all of you who are still here, listening to this channeling of Saraswati, What about the moon? Our lovely moon is opposite Uranus in Scorpio, and we have a fantastic angle to these guys over here. So the high frequencies of the water element from Jupiter to Uranus, then direct to the moon, and from there to this trio over there in Capricorn. And all the way back, of course. Basically, that means all that is very auspicious. A really strong setup, and I truly hope it will override and outweigh the unfortunate angles created by the position of Mars. The moon is in the first gate. People with the first activation in their design are the VIPs of the collective. Those are the ones who can transform pain and grief into beauty. They are the actors in the drama of life and are masters in acting it out. In healthy states, they are contributing much to the well-being of the others, just by being there or crafting on their artistic creations. On this day, the first gate gets flooded and all people can experience these vibrations. In the shadows, it's about disorder, but because of the good angles, we feel the freshness and beauty of this one gate. The moon carries the water element into Scorpio. Scorpio itself is a water sign. Now, when the moon comes, the water will be strong. Get ready. The quality of this water coming through Scorpio is not like a nice rain sprinkle on a hot sunny day. No, it's the bleak and creepy, deep, dark seas. It represents the rock bottom. From those places, no one can see the light. There we are down, far down, under tons of cold ocean water, where it's most difficult to find life. But it's not impossible, especially because we are supported by the beautiful and wonderful geometries of the heavens. This first gate is one of the 4 most important DNA activations. You guys with this one are connected to the primordial beings, and without you and your work for the collective, humanity couldn't be here. Maybe we get pulled into this black hole of infinite darkness. It's the gate to the 9th dimension. We can swim through it. It's not even important when. Other people may be trying to fit us in their construct of time. Gate 1 is far beyond time. It's the beginning of the universal creation itself. There you see, time is utterly insignificant. But you guys, however, can show us, through your uniqueness and expression of beauty, what is really significant. Now it's time to say I love you. And thank you. Also thanks to Richard Rath for his teachings, translations and transmissions from the original I Ching. And thanks to Ra Uru for the brilliant invention of the human design. It's a great tool and powerful support for the progression of our light work. Happy New Year to all. Om Nityananda.